We have a new firmware update for this LG C1 OLED. And I don't know what's going on with this firmware updates from LG because they usually don't tell you what they are fixing, if anything. And these TVs are not flawless. I've pointed out some of the issues that this TV has. But aside from those small issues, right now, my LG C1 is working amazing, okay? I'm so happy. So please, LG, don't mess it up, okay? You don't mess it up. So right now, I have the 0.03.3480 and I am going to update it to 03.3495. I'm going to do the update in real time, okay? So hit yes and let's see what happens. And you know, the importance of these videos is that here the community comes together and they report, hey, after the update, I am having this issue with the audio. You know, usually I see people commenting, my eARC is no longer working or it has a delay or something. And I do not have a lot of experience on the audio side. So usually what I do is I'm going to pin your comment to see if someone else can help you, okay? I'm just getting started. I'm getting into the audio side right now because I got this receiver with some speakers and I want to get a surround sound. So I already figured out how to get Dolby and DTS working on Windows. So after I figure the audio side out, I'm gonna share some of that too. But that's the importance of these videos and that's why they are so popular, because people want to know. And here I want everyone to report if you see any issues, okay? And I will do my best to try to help you, and I will absolutely test any issues that you have to see if I have the same issues, and I would even do a follow-up video if there is anything. But usually the firmware updates from LG are okay. You just do it, you don't see any changes, and that's better than if you see any picture quality changes. We do not want any calibration or picture quality or ABL, nothing. You don't want none of that to be changed. The brightness of your TV to be downgraded. That's insane, bro. I'm telling you, I am not an LG fan. I am not a fan of any company, okay? I'm always going to buy the best product regardless of the manufacturer. But to be honest, because I know so well how these menus work and everything, I would be more likely to buy an LG TV if it was, let's say, we get a new self-emissive quantum dot or inkjet printed OLED or something like that from LG. I would be more likely to buy it from LG than from other manufacturers. But unfortunately, they are going the Sony way now, because now they're trying to lock you out of the service menu. They don't want you to turn off the TPC and GSR, the dimming, the ASBL dimming. So I don't know anymore, because if they are doing that crap, then I'm not buying LG. I'm sorry. If you don't let me turn off all the dimming possible on the TV, I am not buying that TV. I'm sorry. Sony can come out with the best TV in the world. If they have logo dimming and static dimming, I am not buying a Sony TV. I'm sorry. I would go with Samsung and the terrible firmware updates any day, just because I know I can go to the service menu, get even more brightness, and turn off all that crap, okay? That's very, very important to me. So what I'm going to do in this video, after the firmware update is done, I am going to make sure that I can still access the service menu using the color control app, and that LG didn't change the service menu, didn't update to this new service menu we have on the C3 and G3 that is just a fake service menu that don't have the option to turn off TPC and GSR. Although it has been reported that the color control app can actually access the real service menu of the C3 and G3 to turn off TPC and GSR, because those options are still there. What happens when you access to the service menu with your service remote is that you need a code or something to access to the real service menu. And I believe that the color control app is already able to do that, but it hasn't been confirmed to me yet by many people. So if you have a C3 or G3, try the color control app and let me know. And of course, when you access the service menu, you are doing that at your own risk, okay? And you're running the risk of voiding the warranty. So just do it at your own risk. So yeah, this looks fantastic. I hope that nothing changes, okay? It's just amazing. So let's see what we're doing here. See how far on the service, how far on this firmware update we are. Let's see, 99%, so we're almost done. I'm also going to double check that I still have access to that HDMI signaling override secret menu, because that's what I use to set up the tone mapping for HDR. Also, man, in case that LG one day just makes a firmware update that is just terrible, we can roll back the firmware update. So now all I have to do is just to turn off the TV and turn it up back again. So what I was saying, let's say that LG releases a firmware update that's terrible. They change the brightness of the TV, or they nerf the performance of the TV some way. We can roll back the firmware using the color control app, okay? I don't want to have to do that, okay? And the reason why I don't have a tutorial showing you how to do that is because I don't want to do it myself, because something can go wrong. It's very unlikely, but something can go wrong, okay? And then you break your TV. And I don't want to be responsible for someone, breaking their TV. And I don't want to do it myself. So if I don't test it myself, I am not going to recommend it or make a video about it. But just for your information, on these LG OLEDs, we can basically do whatever we want, okay? There is even a way to hack the software of the TV completely. And I can install on this LG C1 any LG TV, basically. I can install a CX, which is something interesting. I would actually like to try that, but I am not going to do it because this just is working so well. I don't want to risk it. It's just working too good. But maybe if I move somewhere else and then I get another C1, then I might try that in the future. And of course I would make a video and try to do my best to explain you how to do it so you don't mess it up. But then when you start playing around with that, you definitely have a high risk of messing everything up. But for your information, it is possible to change the software of your LG TV completely, okay? Another case that would be interesting to do that is on the LG SC, I think is the name. Is this LG TV that has the C1 hardware, but it comes with the C2 software. So because it has the LG C1 hardware, we know that black frame insertion at 120 FPS is possible. So all you have to do on that TV is to change that C2 software, which doesn't have the black frame insertion option at 120. Change that to a C1 and that should be no problem. So the black frame insertion, you basically have the same menus as the LG C1, and you would have the option to use black frame insertion, and the hardware is there because the hardware is the hardware of the C1, unless they cheap out and they remove the hardware that makes black frame insertion possible, because they knew they were going to install the C2 software. But I don't believe so. They are too lazy for that. They're just gonna slap that C1 hardware, get the C2 software to get some improvements on the motion interpolation. For example, the motion interpolation on the C2 is better than the C1, but you lose that 120 black frame insertion. That would be a really, really interesting experiment that I would like to do. But yeah, do your research if you want to know more about that. And unless LG messes everything up, I hope I don't have to do a video like that ever. So I'm going to get a good shot here, then I'm gonna turn off the TV and turn it back on again and see if I see any differences at a first glance. Okay, I'm looking at it. This looks absolutely amazing. I'm using black frame insertion right now, and this just looks incredible. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off and pray. Okay, let's see. So usually when I turn it back on again from a firmware update, it takes some time. I see this logo and it takes a little bit some time, and sometimes the menus are slow. So they go very slow the first time, but then it just goes back to normal. So, but yeah, let me know if you have any issues after this firmware update, and I will do my best to help you. And if I cannot help you, I will even pin your comment so it is at the very top, so everyone can see it and maybe someone else can help you with your issue. So that's what I do. So let's see. Wait. Your TV software has been updated. It looks the same. It looks the same. No issues. So I know that the calibration was not changed. It was not changed. So that's very good. Let me double check. Okay. Yeah, the settings are the same. Yeah, settings are the same. This is the SDR HDR trick for black frame insertion. And I have the white balance, the calibration I show you. This is the 0.002 leaning towards green on my S23 Ultra with that color temperature meter app. Okay. This is good. Okay, this is good. So now let's see if I can access to the HDMI signaling override menu. 11131111. Okay. Okay, I'm happy. Now let's see if I can access the service menu. So I have the color control app here. No, I don't. Let me actually open the color control app. Okay. Everyone has to know about this color control app. I still see people complaining about not being able to turn the peak brightness to high on SDR on these LG OLEDs. And please, just get this app. It works for the PS5, the Xbox, the PC. All you have to do is to select here on this app the HDMI port that you want to change. So you have to connect the TV to, you have to connect to your PC, okay, to use this app. But then you have connected your Xbox or PS5 on a different HDMI port. All you have to do is to select here the HDMI port that you want to change. It's that simple. And then you come here, expert, picture. I'm talking about SDR to get that peak brightness on high. You select peak brightness, and then here's what you're gonna do. You leave your mouse here on high, okay? So you only have to make one click. And then what you have to do is you have to change the input of your TV. So you come here to inputs, and then you select, let's say HDMI 2. Let's say your PS5 is on the HDMI 2, on the number 2. Then you selected here HDMI number 2, and now you have the mouse on top of high peak brightness. Now you change the TV to that HDMI 2, and now you click, and you will see that peak brightness on SDR going to high. So it's still locked, but now you have the brightness, and you will clearly see that that works. So do that, bro. And don't suffer, stop suffering for what LG doesn't want to give you that peak brightness on high. They basically let you watch the news with the peak brightness on high with logos, and they don't let you play your games. It doesn't make any sense, but stop suffering. middle finger to LG, use the color control app. So now let me see if I have access to the service menu. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to move the camera so you don't see the personal information on the service menu, this IP address and all of that. So that's why I'm gonna move the camera. So I think I'm having issues with the battery of my mouse. This is a wireless mouse I got recently, and the batteries died very fast. Brand new batteries. I think it's not even working right now. Let's see. Yeah, it's not working. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to use my keyboard. So I'm gonna open this DualSense app, so I can basically control the mouse with my DualSense on the PC. Okay, so see, I can control the mouse now with this. So let's see if I can access the service menu. So we come here to Expert, and before I click in Start, let me move the camera so that IP address doesn't show on the video. Let me move the camera here. Okay. Okay. That's enough. That's enough. So I'm going to click in Start. See if I have access to the service menu. Yes, I do. I have access to the service menu. Let me check if LG didn't change this TPC and GSR to on. They are off. So what I do here on the service menu, let me see if you can see that. Yeah, let me get it farther away. Let me go down here, see if you can see this GSR. Yeah. So what I do here in this service menu is I turn off TPC and GSR at my own risk, okay? And what this is going to do is this is going to prevent the TV from dimming. So the only dimming remaining that is undefeatable is ABL, Automatic Brightness Limiter, which will reduce the brightness when you have bigger window sizes. So let's say you have 800 nits on this LG C1 on a 10% window size. When that window size gets bigger, you no longer have 800 nits, okay? When you have full screen white, then you have a lot less brightness. So that's undefeatable, but by turning off GSR, I am going to prevent dimming from logos, okay? So if I have a logo on the game, I don't want the brightness of the TV to go down because we always have logos on the game, almost always. So I want to turn that off, okay? And TPC is going to prevent dimming when you have a static image for a long period of time on the screen. But sometimes what happens with this TPC is that you have a dark scene, so you have a very low light scene that is prolonged, is long. Let's say you're playing a horror game or something. And then the TV is going to think that that's a static image because there is no APL, the APL is not changing enough. So the TV thinks that that's a static image because the average picture level is not changing enough. So that's an issue because then you're playing a horror game or you're watching a movie that's very dark and it becomes darker so you cannot see anything. That's terrible. I want to turn that off. So that's the problem with the C3 and G3. They try to hide this menu so you cannot turn this off. But this menu still exists on the C3 and G3 because Hollywood studios, they have to be able to turn that off. So why a regular customer is less than that? It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's what LG is doing. That's why I don't like the way they are going. Yeah, and raised blacks on the G3, which I don't like either. But yeah, I am going to test, after the update, I am going to test everything. I'm gonna test HDR tone mapping, all the clipping points, HDIG with tone mapping off, selecting all the tone mapping targets, 540, 700, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, 10,000 nits to check that the TV is clipping at those points. Okay, I am also going to check black frame insertion OLED Motion Pro. I'm going to check if high is still working at 60. It is, because I just tested it now on the game. If high is working at 120, at 100, it works at 100 FPS, 100 hertz. Medium also works at that 100 and 120. Auto also works, and low also works that. Unfortunately, medium doesn't work at 60, so I'm going to check if it is now working. That's one of the firmware update proposals that I made for LG. I made a video about that, and I wish they fixed that, but I highly doubt they're listening to that. But yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to test everything and make sure that everything is okay. If I see any issues, I'm gonna have that on the comments or on the description of the video. If you see any issues with this firmware update, let me know. I am going to do my best to help you, and if I cannot help you, I might pin the comment so somebody else can help you. Okay, so yeah, we're all coming together, and the community comes together for these firmware updates, and we try to help each other. Okay, because LG doesn't tell you anything. They don't tell you what they're doing, so probably what they're doing is just updating the way they are selling your personal information. That's probably what's going on with these firmware updates, to be honest. I don't like to do conspiracy theory, but yeah, what else? If they are not changing anything on the TV, what are they doing? Just programming better the AI that is actually gathering all your personal information, all the things that you like, all the things that you do and watch on your TV to sell that. That's it. So we can get a lower price on the TV. So I don't mind that actually, because if it means we get a cheaper TV, that's okay, man. Sell my personal information. I don't care. I actually don't watch anything. I just play games on my PC. But I know that's something that's very bothersome for a lot of people. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.